How's it going, Mullinites? So it was a somewhat flat start to the week. We still traded down slightly by about 2%. And given all that's going on with Muln in terms of issues around liquidity and whether they will actually be around in the future, it's kind of understandable. So I haven't really changed my opinions on Muln lately. I still think that they're in a lot of financial trouble. They look like they're about to run out of cash, and the avenues for them to raise money either through debt or equity are looking increasingly limited. Now, something that's interesting and could get the stock popping a little bit in the coming days and weeks is if you look at the short interest. So the short interest in the stock's currently at about 22%. So 22% of the float is held short. And that's not including off-exchange shorting as well. That's quite high. And there's a reasonably high borrow fee that goes along with it of 84%. So, stocks like this are no stranger to a short squeeze. And when you consider the size of the float being quite small after all these reverse stock splits, there is I actually think there is actually a good chance that there could be a little bit of at least a short-term pop in the stock via short squeeze. The only problem the stock has in terms of whether something like this is to eventuate is the fact that sentiment around it is in the gutter. It's not. No one wants to be caught holding on to this stock. No one wants to jump in when it gets too high. But at the same time, there are plenty of people who are willing to try and stake a bit of money and make a bit of a short-term gain. And Mullen could be an ideal target for it. Obviously, a little flag, like a little bit of good news, might be something that could trigger such a movement in the stock's price. But I think whatever sort of pops the stock receives from now on in are going to be short-lived. But if you're someone holding the stock and such a thing happens, not that this is investing advice, that might be an ideal time to exit. Now, at the same time, I know there's a number of people out there watching this who kind of are waiting for the stock to fall a bit further before they buy in. I've seen people saying they're going to target $2 and $1 and hopefully get a bit of a rebound. I guess if you're looking for the short-term rebound, maybe there are good entrance prices, especially if you get some sort of positive catalyst to throw the stock up and you do a short-term swing trade with the stock. But generally, for a long-term investment, as things stand, I would not be trying to park any money or any more money in this stock. People do things differently. Some people might be dollar cost averaging all the way down. Actually, if you are someone who's dollar cost averaging all the way down, let me know. I'm actually quite curious to see if people are doing that. But, the stock now has a market cap of about $17 million. So it's not, it's in a lot of trouble. That makes it hard to raise money. Both equity and debt raising. And the fact that they are suspending a lot of operations and just focusing on, developing their commercial vehicles, which they're already producing, which they've just hit the 500th vehicle produced milestone. There's a bit of grayness. There's a lot of grayness around this stock. There's a lot of cloud around it. So my kind of viewpoint is just, I'm kind of done with the stock. I'm not really going to try and do anything with it. I might look for an exit price if something favorable happens. But, I kind of got into the stock just to have some skin in the game and follow its movements. And unfortunately, it's just been a ride down. And it continues to be that. I just had a bit of a thought just then that the stocks are about $17 million market cap. That means someone could actually buy all their assets at a real discount right now. So if there was someone who's quite predatory, they could jump in and take over the company. Obviously, there will be blocks put in place because you can't buy that many shares at once. I don't think. Obviously, a takeover, a hostile takeover is something that could happen. But, I don't think people want to take over the company for its assets. For its operations. I think maybe more so for its assets. There's a few. The interesting thing is they don't have a lot of debt, Mullen Automotive, but they have a number of, non-current or hard assets on the books, which is worth a bit of money. And I've speculated before that there might be a chance that they might try and sell one of their engineering facilities, as they've kind of combining the operations of the two into one. Frees one up, so that might be an avenue that they've raised some cash. But if someone was to take over the company, that might be something they might look to do. They might like to buy the company and just sell off the assets and maybe even wind up operations. I don't know. They might not wind up operations. They might actually just keep things going. They might just be able to like steer things a bit better. I think, look, if someone takes over the company, what the company needs is they probably need to do what they've done now, which is restrict where money's going. They need to continue to ramp up the commercial vehicles and make sure they're getting sales, which there are things in place, but they're trying to expand their dealership network and also sell overseas, which I've kind of a bit iffy about. But the other thing the company needs is they need cash. They need to have cash added to the balance sheet, and that's ultimately, if someone is to take over the company, what they're going to need to do. So other than if they were to get the stock for $17 million, which I think they'll have a bit of difficulty doing, that's what they would need to do. They probably also need to come up with a sizable amount of money. So the takeover is probably looking at like $100 million, probably at least. Especially given that there's, well, I wouldn't say booked sales of 280 million or 240 million, whatever it was that they've sold, because there's no confirmation that any of the vehicles that were sold by Randy Marion will actually eventuate. Like, the buyers might actually decide to walk away, especially given the turmoil the company and its stock is in at the moment. Anyway, just a couple of thoughts to start the trading week off. I hope you guys all had a great weekend, and I hope your other stocks are doing better than Mullen Automotive, or if you're shorting it, you're probably, making a mozza. They're the ultimate winners in Mullen Automotive, those who have shorted the stock. Yeah, anyway, have a great day. Till next time, may the markets trade in your favor. Cheers.